All right, we've got one more set of problems to do, and these are less algebra, meaning you don't have a lot to work out. They're more logic kinds of problems. So these are the unusual situations um, that don't follow the regular patterns. The ones you've already seen are the ones that will be emphasized. But I need you to think through these. So what we want to do in every single one of these is start by shading, and I've color coded so we can shade them, and then we'll talk about what that looks like. So on these, always graph and shade, and then go from there to figure it out. So I'm going to kind of shade below and above the number line just so you can see, and I'm going to use a highlighter. So I'm going to do all the x's less than 4, x's greater than 4 ones in orange. So on the first two, I see x's less than 4, which means I'm going to shade left of 4 and left of 4 here. So I'm going to do that in highlighter. And then on the next two, I see x is greater than 4, x is greater than 4. And so that means on those, I'm going to shade to the right of 4. So now I'm going to do the 10 part. Well, I'm going to again use highlighter, and I'm going to color code. On this first one, x is greater than 10, so I'm going to shade to the right of 10. The second one, x is less than 10, so I'm going to shade to the left of 10. On the next one, x is greater than 10, so I'm going to shade to the right of 10. And on the last one, x is less than 10, so I'm going to shade to the left of 10. Now, what you need to know is that or means orange or purple or both. So your answer is in anywhere you see orange or purple or both. And so on the first one, I see orange and purple separately. So I would say I see orange where x is less than 4, and purple where x is greater than 10. And that's actually my answer. So I'm repeating what I started out with, and this is the most typical situation that you had earlier today anyway. Now on the next one, do you see that if I'm looking from the left, I see orange and purple both, and then I see purple? So I can summarize, there's really one big area in here. All of this is the answer. And I can condense that down to just saying, okay, well, if I just say x is less than 10, that covers everything I previously said. So if I can condense it down to a shorter statement than what I talked about or what I gave you, then that's your answer. So the second one is the same way. If you look from left to right, I see orange, and then I see orange and purple. So this whole area is the answer, and I can make that one statement by just saying x is greater than 4. Now, on the last one, notice if I move across the number line from left to right, I see purple, then I see purple and orange, and then I see orange. So what I'm noticing is that the entire number line is covered. Well, if I'm covering everything on the number line, then what I'm saying is that all real numbers, or the entire number line, is my answer. And sometimes instead of giving the answers in the red boxes, they'll give the answers in graphical form. So like for instance, what they might show you on the computer is that the final answer is just from 10 to 4 here. They'll say you cover everything if you just make one shaded region. So that's kind of like what I've circled. Now we're going to do the same thing on the next one, except now I'm switching to and. And here the difference is you don't get an answer unless you have orange and purple. So it's not an or situation. Or situations allow for more options. Here, if you don't have orange and purple both on shade, then you don't have an answer. So let me go through again and shade things. So the first two, x is less than 4 would mean to the left of 4. On the second two, x is greater than 4, which means on these I'm going to shade x is greater than 4 to the right. Now let me shade the 10 part. So on the first one, x is greater than 10, shade right. On the next one, x is less than 10, shade left. So my pictures aren't changing from the previous problems, but the way I interpret them will. So on this one, x is greater than 10, shade right. And on the last one, x is less than 10, shade left. So now I need to look, where am I shading orange and purple both? So on the first picture, there is no place that orange and purple are shaded, so my answer is no solution. There is no place on the number line where everything is shaded. So they'll either give you no solution as your answer, or what they'll give you is a totally unshaded number line as the answer, where they're saying there is no place that orange and purple overlap each other. Now on the second one, I see that the only place both orange and purple are shaded is in here. So that would be for x is less than 4. Or if they give you the graphical answer, it would just be this. X is less than 4. That's the only place I see orange and purple both. So on this one, I see orange and purple are both shaded in this area. Well, that area is x is greater than 10. Or you might see it shaded if they give you the picture version of the answer instead of the inequality version of the answer on your multiple choices. Then they might just show you that picture. Last but not least, orange and purple both occur in this area. So that would be for x between 4 and 10. So that would be the inequality kind of answer that you might type into the computer. But if they gave you multiple choice and they gave you graphs, then your multiple choice answer would be 4, 10, open circle, shade between. And that summarizes where, when we did the two individual colors, that summarizes where they wound up. So those are the last problems. If you can finish these questions, you will have finished all of your assignment 2.3, and I will answer your questions when I see you again on Monday. Have a great weekend.